You should look up the word for wild beasts.
Yes. Okay.
It's venomous.
You got a comment to make on that?
Well, the word wild beast is actually venomous.
Yep. But what a beast represent in the scriptures? Beast. In the book of Daniel, chapter 7. The beast that you saw are what? What are the beasts that you saw? What do they represent?
Kingdoms.
Kingdoms. Okay. So I don't know. Look, can you raise your hand? Is anyone there from the US? Anyone? Okay. Oh, sorry, Denise. We Latino people have a different view of the US land of freedom that you might have. You in the US, you might have a vision of yourselves of the land of freedom and the land of democracy. But if you are from Panama, if you are from Chile, if you are from Colombia, if you're from Nicaragua, and if you are from even the Basque Country, where our terrorist group called ETA was financed by the CIA, if you're from Vietnam, and if you're from other places, you might have a different view of the land of freedom, the land of the free, and the land of democracy and Christianity. You might have a different view. I might have a different view. So when the Panama invasion happened, because it just happened that the lease of the canal was running out, and Panama decided not to renew it, and all of a sudden, coincidence of coincidence, Panama gets invaded. Nobody talked about the fact that there was a lease contract on the canal that was running out, and Panamanians didn't want to renew it. And there was a Panama invasion. The U.S. news revealed that 2 U.S. Marines on the force of duty, on the act of duty, lost their lives during that night incursion. But that's not what Spanish TV was showing. Spanish TV was not showing 2 U.S. Marines dying. It was actually showing more than 2,500 Panamanians in one night dying. That's what the Spanish TV was showing. So they are kingdoms of the earth that through their schemes, through the political interest, through the footprint on the world, and America is not the only one. It's probably the biggest footprint, but not the only one. France has done it. Spain has done it. England keeps on doing it. Germany. It's amazing. We should change the name for Germany to Lazarus. It keeps on resurrecting in an amazing way. Out of all the countries in Europe, is the one that has less cases of coronavirus. It's just amazing. It's just something in it. And I'm just going to leave it like that. Otherwise, I'll enter into conspiracy theories. But what I mean is that the kingdoms of the earth has caused a lot of death in the last century by the speculation in markets, by shifting of poverty lines, etc. Okay, so that can be also there. That can be also there. And that horse is still running, by the way? Is that horse is still running? Oh, that you better believe it. That horse is still running. Yeah, Denise? I'm sorry for that. I mean, I don't take it personal, but I don't believe the United States of America will speak like a dragon. I believe the United States of America has been speaking like a dragon for a long time. You just need to be outside of America and be a preacher outside of America to suffer America policies to realize that the speaking of a dragon is not something in the future. It has been established right from the beginning, when all the those that wrote the Constitution and the Statement of Independence wrote and signed that all men are made equal in the sight of God, and then go home and be served by black slaves. Dina.
Well,
we're both naturalized Americans, but we're not born in America. So
Okay. Just taking it out. Just taking it out. We will have some Americans listening though, so apologize to them.
no, it's the truth. But the point that I wanted to make, the beasts of the earth, the beasts that are operating with the earthly principle, like you brought up.
Exactly. So they're not beasts of deserted places. They're beasts of earthly principles, earthly nature, earthly salvation, earthly policies, earthly trying to find peace on earth, etc., etc., etc. Or at least that's what they say. All right. Well, so if I don't know if you are you moving along historically. Can you see that historically from the 1800s, this has been just adding up and adding up and adding up and adding up. Okay, so we got and this is obviously still going. Now there is now the sixth seal. Think about it. The sixth seal. Sorry, the fifth. Bigger pardon. The fifth seal.
Hold on. Can you hold on?
Then he opened the fifth seal. Sorry, you go. Somebody was talking.
I just have a question. Why did you?
Yep.
Why are you placing? What's your reasoning for placing the seals at the beginning with the 1800s?
Well, because if we follow the historical, remember that the churches are also contemporaneous. So if we follow the historical main development of the church as such, we're looking at Philadelphia as the time in that historical growth, as the time of the French Revolution, the Great Revivalists, Jesus is coming, people selling their stuff, etc., etc. Then is the courtroom of the seals. So then it has to sort of get from then on. Okay, that's on a historical setting. And having said that, we do have the 7 churches in a contemporary thing, and I believe those horses are still running today. But when we go to the 5th seal, notice this. When he opened the 5th seal, so under the altar, the souls of those who had been slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, until you judge and avenge our blood and those who dwell on the earth. Now that's a clear reference to some statements that are actually, in terms of the grammatical rhetoric as such, in terms of the formation of words, very, very similar to when we're talking about the falling of Babylon, avenging of the blood, the 7 last plagues, the avenging of the blood, etc., etc., upon those that dwell on the earth, the dwellers of the earth that will worship the beast, etc., etc., etc. So we have the first reference of the beast, or now plural, kingdoms, in the 4th seal, and the schemes that is still going on. But then I want to ask you, and notice what happens. Well, before I continue with that seal, verse 11, these are the dead people that are crying out from underneath the altar. Okay, I want you to just throw the question to you, also for the sake of those. I've got a rendering of this, or what I think it means, but I want to hear from you. What do you think it means? How is it that those that have been killed by the preaching of the gospel, or have died by the preaching of the gospel, now they're crying out from underneath the altar and crying out with a loud voice? How can that happen?
I don't know. Is it
Anyone?
possible they're alive up there?
Okay, well that is one thing. Okay, we know for sure
What happened
a
during
number
the
of
2
things.
witnesses?
Okay, now noticed I believe this. I believe the two witnesses in the full extent. Again, there has been two witnesses all throughout history, but in the full extent, I believe the two witnesses have not yet come, because I believe the preaching of the two witnesses in the full extent is with the sealing of the 144,000 stars. Okay, so from that point of view, in the full extent, I mean, I'm not negating for 1 minute that have not been, the Lord has sent them two by twos to be his witnesses. Okay, I'll send you two by two to be my witnesses. So I'd not negate that for a minute, but in the full essence of it, I believe that has not yet happened in that sense. But we know of Enoch that was not slain, but God took him. We know of Elijah, he was not slain. Now we do have Moses and those that God resurrected with Christ as the first fruits that was taken with him. They were slain. I don't know if one of them was John the Baptist. I have no idea. But would you imagine that? You know, people still today wondering, why did the Lord did not deliver John the Baptist, and John the Baptist is up in heaven? Like, oh man, these people, you know. Because we don't know. There were many that were resurrected that day and were taken up to heaven by the Lord. I don't know if one of them was John the Baptist. You don't know.